Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann, along with my co-host, Mitch Glenn.
How about that?
Look at that.
I am still alive.
Mitch is, besides doing so many other things, he's also the owner of PICO Lures. And so this is peak time for crankbait fishing, for pulling and pushing.
That's
for
right.
crappie.
The hotter the water gets, the better it gets.
It's hot.
We've reached maturity on that point.
You think we're hot enough,
yeah.
huh?
When you walk outside at 8 o'clock in the morning, the heat index 101, we're there.
That's right. That's cooking pretty good. So we're gonna get some tips on pulling, and he's gonna tell us a little secret he has about a couple new colors he's got coming out. So we're interested in seeing what it looks like. I have not seen it myself. So
you almost got to. I just forgot to bring it.
There you go. I have seen the other one, and we'll give you a little background on the reason why I saw the other one.
Yeah.
But tell us, what would you say the number one tip is for pulling
crankbaits today?
Pulling crankbaits.
A battery powered fan.
Yeah,
2 of them, because you're going to run the batteries dead on one.
a big shade, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's shade. Big bony hat, battery powered fan blowing in your face, lots of ice.
So if you haven't done it before,
if
you haven't done it before, I mean, just start with basics. How do they know how much line to let off?
I just helped a guy out here the other day. This is real fresh on the line, like 18 hours ago.
Okay.
Wanted to do it. So step number 1, put a bait in the water. If you're in a 20-foot boat and you want to know how far back your boat is, use that for a measurement.
Okay.
So stand in the front, let your bait back to the back from your rod tip, then go back there and do it again. Now you got 40-foot of line out. Right now, probably need to start at 60 up here. And so do it a third time. Now you've got 60-foot of line out. Put your rod in the holder to where you don't have 20-foot of line between you and the water.
Right.
That's the biggest mistake I see people make. They let 60-foot of line out, put the rod in the rod holder straight up and down. Well, there's 50 feet of it isn't in the water yet.
Right.
Your line distance out doesn't start until the line gets in the water.
Right.
So use that as, if you can put it on an angle where it's 10 foot till it hits the water, we'll give it another 10 foot. Now you're roughly 60 feet.
Right.
So you can spend as much money on electronics and reels and depth charts and all this stuff as you want, but that's going to get you down there 15 foot.
Right.
Depending on your line, 12 foot, 15 foot, something like that. So now, if you've got a depth finder, you need to have a depth finder. Just a mediocre depth finder that can show you a school of shad in the water column. Right. And your speed. You need to move at least 1.4 miles an hour. And if you're seeing shad in the water column in that 10 to 15 foot zone, you got your bait somewhere in there where the fish are. If they're down deeper than that, let some more line out. Right. If they're up shallower than that, crank some line in. Get your bait somewhere in that zone. This time of year, those fish aren't in a little school around a tree stump somewhere. They're out roaming around. Fish is a cold-blooded creature. Hotter he gets, the more he's got to eat to stay alive. So they're out there roaming around, chomping on stuff. And if you got a crankbait going by, hey, they're going to go over there and at least look at it. And they ain't got no thumbs, so they generally put it in their mouth.
Water temperature is 88 degrees, so I'd say the metabolism of the crappie's up pretty high.
It's cranked up there, yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
it's too bad the fisherman can't keep his cranked up that high.
That's right. Yeah, that's pretty warm. So that sets us up with the distances there. When it comes to rod, reels, and fishing line that you start looking at when you're starting to pull crankbaits or push crankbaits?
Right. Well, the generally accepted line is something that's, everybody says 10-pound test, and that's because of the diameter. Uh-huh. That's where most people base their depth charts and everything on the diameter of 10-pound test line. Right. So it's generally people are running 10 and 12-pound test line. Personally, I've turned a lot of people onto this, and Nothing against monofilament line, but if you'll use a 30-pound braid, you got 10-pound diameter, or maybe even a little smaller, but you got a 30-pound test.
Right.
So now if that thing hits a rock or stump or something like that, you can thumb that spool, and you might break a barb off your hook, or you might break the bait off. But them baits float, so next pass through there, just kind of keep your eye out for it, That's
right.
But that way you don't just go snap and be done with it,
Right.
So you can retrieve more baits that way. Plus, it just we have walleye in this lake.
Right.
Every now and then you get hold of a walleye and they engulf one of them. They got teeth.
Yeah, they do.
You'll lose some baits that way.
Yeah.
But you'll end up catching some gar that way too. That might have broke you off when you wished they had of,
Those gar, we got plenty of gar.
Yeah.
A lot of those places.
They're on our pro staff.
A lot of they are, aren't they? And a lot of those Mississippi lakes, they're full of gar too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they got some of those with the little short, wide bills down there too.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
they're full of them down that way.
Yeah.
And so let's get down to lure color. Lure color and lure selection. So we
Hey, man,
happen to bring a couple over
we got you covered.
Just to show, but 40 different colors in the deep diver, the INT.
Right. Yep.
And then 14 different colors in the square bills. And so where do you start? I mean, 40 colors here. You show up and you got them all. Yeah. Like maybe there are people out there that have 40 different colored PICO lures and 6 of each. They got lots. But you show up and you have any color you want in your tackle box. You're in the summer now. What are you gonna?
Right. If we was going out there tomorrow, I'm going to get various shad patterns on.
Okay.
I'm going to get like the awesomes and the purple back splatters and the limeback pearl. Various shades of shad.
Right.
And, if I'm running 8 rods, I'm probably going to have 8 different colors of baits.
Right.
And if I'm noticing that purple pearl and simply awesome are both getting hit, I'm going to start getting some more pearl or purple colored baits in the water. If it just seems to be like anything that's got white on it, then I'm going to get in some Christmas trees. And if I don't know any color that works, I've got Wonder Bread. It's got a little bit of everything on it, and believe me, dude, they'll bite it just for spite. I think they think it's got a slice of peanut butter on its belly or something.
Wonder Bread has that look of like the loaf of bread.
Like
Wonder Bread.
It's the reason it's called Wonder Bread. Yeah,
that branding color, and so that.
But tangled up with
really
it there is another one that would go in the water at the same time. That's sexy shad. I mean, there's no time ever that it don't work. So just kind of shad pattern, light colored baits and what have you. In the mornings, I wouldn't hesitate to put on like a dark purple splatter or even an orange splatter or something like that before the sun gets up bright, because when you got low sun angles and kind of overcast, maybe a foggy morning or something, that the water, it gives them a darker bait to find in the water.
So how about mirrors? When do you start using mirrors? How do you know when to start those mirrors? Is that more of a summer pattern or what? Because you have 3 different colors of mirror. You got that chrome and blue, you got chrome and black, and then you got clown color.
Yeah. I'm going to say there's no time not to use that. That'll work year round. What I've found, especially in Mississippi, you get on the water at the crack of dawn,
right?
And you can put chrome blue, chrome black, and chrome clown all out, and the chrome black will get bit. And as it starts to brighten up, the chrome clown will get bit. You'll never get bit on chrome blue until the sun hits the water. After the sun hits the water, it's the only chrome color that'll work down there.
Wow.
So there's really, all 3 of those have got their place. If it was a cloudy, rainy day, chrome black's probably your go-to choice.
Right.
If it's, early morning, it's light, but it's not really heavy overcast or anything, then chrome clown works all day. And I think chrome clown works a little better in cooler water too. It's more of a cooler water thing. But chrome blue, there's no wrong time to put that in the water.
Right. And so that takes us to 2 new colors.
Yeah.
You got 2 new colors.
Yeah.
And people ask me, when you get new colors?
Well, first thing everybody wants to know is when you're going to get the rest of the new colors back in stock. So I had no idea those 5 new colors would be such a hit this year, but man, they left.
Yeah, they were hot, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Beach ball is phenomenal.
Beach
I hate
ball.
to say that over and over again.
That right there was
Wonder Bread.
I sold out a beach ball and the day after sold out of that one. I mean, it just
Wonder
bam,
Bread.
bam.
Christmas tree.
Christmas trees was on fire until I ran out. You know, and this is probably another bait right here.
Yeah,
that's
orange back,
Yeah.
chartreuse sides, kind of a transparent.
There's just
look.
almost no time in the world to not throw that bait.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's smallmouth, white bass, you name it. They're going to eat that thing.
Yep.
So in conjunction with that, we're going to do a kind of an Ozark shad, kind of a base bait that's kind of translucent like that.
That's right.
And we're going to call it money.
Paycheck.
Yeah, paycheck.
Because when you're using it, it's as good as getting a paycheck.
It's getting bit. It's got that transparent silver sheen on the side, a transparent chartreuse on the belly, and a transparent, matches a gizzard shad blue back on it.
Yeah, blue, kind of a touch of purple in there a little bit.
It is.
The history behind that, give them a shout out, is my son-in-law Joey actually painted that. We've been making jerk baits that color pattern, and we just catching the fire out of them. And so
you have to keep this bait wrapped in a paper towel inside of a shoebox when it's in your boat, because if you dropped it over the side of the boat, something's going to grab it and run off with it.
Yeah, it's quite a good looking. It's an awesome looking bait.
It is,
especially for what we got.
I expect those to be finished around the mid-October.
Yeah, that's going to be the deal. And then what's the other color? New color?
Well, we haven't really settled on a firm name yet, but it's a Doug Wynn invention from over in Mississippi, or from Kentucky. Yeah, yep. He has. It works in Mississippi really well too. Right. He has run the gamut on that thing from Illinois all the way through Mississippi and everywhere he's put that bait. And it's another version of a green and black, kind of a bluegill, crawfish, sunfish hybrid type of a bait. And believe me, I've watched it catch fish for the last 3 years. Wow! So it's another bait.
Did he use that down in Grenada?
Yeah.
During your tournament?
No, him and his partner placed really high on that though in a tournament. Before that. So by the time we got down there, I mean, this is why you got to have 40 colors of crankbaits. Okay. Right. We get down there for that tournament that I was fishing with them in, and in practice, anything that looked like a shad would get bit. In particular, Christmas tree was getting bit really good. Right. And just anywhere you want to go, if you want to check, make sure those fish would bite, put Christmas tree in there, they'll bite that. Next day we go out, but I noticed toward the end of the last practice day that Simply Awesome was getting bit pretty good. Right. So we go out the next day, and I put 2 Simply Awesomes out, and a Christmas tree, and my partner put out, I think, a Christmas tree, a purple pearl, which is pretty close, and I think one of the Wonder Breads, shad pattern baits. The only thing that would get bit is Simply Awesome. Wow. And I ended up putting a purple pearl shad right beside the Awesome, and they'd still bite the. They wanted just that touch of chartreuse on the belly. Other than that, it's almost the same bait. Yeah. But it's got that little chartreuse flash to it. And I think out of the 5 that we weighed, 4 of those come on the Simply Awesome. Wow. And out of 15 that we caught, I'm going to say probably 12 of those come on Awesome. Yeah, that was out of Crankfest out of Grenada, Mississippi. Great Grenada Crankfest, yeah. Yeah, big fish down there. Yeah, I got to see some when I got to weigh in. There you go. Got to see some. Yeah. Snap, swivel, a barrel swivel, and a snap. What do you use? I prefer just a snap. Okay. Yep. All right. If you'll put 30-pound mono or 30-pound braid on and just put a number 2 snap on it. Okay. And you don't have to worry about leader lines, none of that stuff. I know I've used the little barrel swivels, but snap swivels before. Right. They work. If you're in a place that gets some pine needles or some trash in it, I think they hang that a little bit more so than just a plain snap. Okay. So just a plain snap, you can switch baits in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. And this spring, when you get ready to go spider rigging, you can take that bait off that snap, use the same rod and reel, the same snap and everything, snap a weight on there, put a little line on there, and you can push a crankbait or go spider rigging.
Yeah. Makes it easy enough.
Yep, especially when you're half blind, you hate tying knots.
Well, that does make a difference.
Yeah.
So, square bill and deep diver. Obviously, you probably aren't using a square bill to long line with, right? That's a different presentation.
No, really, it's kind of starting to become a thing. What you'll notice, and I've seen this year in and year out down there in Mississippi,
right?
As you go out first things in the morning, and the shad are on the surface, and the crappie are busting them like bass would.
Right.
For that little magic 15-minute spell in there, you don't even need a weight on those. You can let those out because they're going to run in that 3 or 4 foot zone where all the shad are.
I see.
And then they won't anymore because the fish will go down.
Right.
And that's partly due to boat traffic and the sun beating on them and everything else. But the shad will go down, the fish will go down underneath the shad. So when that happens, it's time to get your INTs out or put a 3-ounce weight on that.
Right.
And adjust as you go down and push it off the front of the boat.
Uh-huh.
Now, as the day rolls on, early afternoon, you'll start noticing that you're catching a lot of catfish down there. This happened to me so many times I can pattern it. When you start catching catfish, you're fishing underneath a crappie.
Right.
So once you get these things cranked up to where you're only running 20 foot of line out behind your planer board or whatever, it's probably a pretty good time to go back to running a square bill.
Right.
The year before last, we caught we caught a couple of crappie trying to let 30 or 40 feet of line out behind the boat. The thing's running 2 foot deep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just end up having to set the hook with your hand and get the rod and reel them in.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunity for those.
Right.
Yep,
It's
I see.
and a lot of the shallower lakes, we've been to a few of them where the average depth is 6 foot or something like that. If I was going to go to Conway and try to catch a fish on a crankbait, which I probably will never do, but that would be your bait of choice on Conway. Those types of lakes.
That takes us to Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by PICO Lures.
Hey, how about
so that makes it easy enough.
Yep.
So what else can you add about the crankbaits? They're coming with red hooks. They're still coming with red hooks.
Yep.
That was a demand, right?
Yeah,
that was angler demand.
That's what the crappie fishermen want. That's what obviously the crappie want it because the crappie fishermen want it. And, that's just what we got. We get the best red hook we can get. I mean, these are kind of beat up looking baits you got, and they still got red on them. So
yeah. That's because they catch fish. I use them to catch fish.
There's a reason why they got tooth marks on them, right?
That's right. If they're in that box there, that's a trolling box right there, different colors.
I don't know. We just let you know that we're now carrying the Vanguard line of terminal tackle, so you can get your braided line, you can get your snaps, you can get barrel swivels, whatever you need there. We've got weights of all sorts and sizes, and hooks and bobbers and whatever you need to go crappie fishing. We got.
There you go. There you have it. That does it for Tackle Time, but that does it for us. If they wanted to find out more about PICO Lures, where would they go, Mitch?
Hey, www.picoluures.com.
There you go. There you have it. Like I always like to end the show. Always good to have you on the show, too.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.